Be live. What is going on, everyone? We are going to get started here in a few minutes. Bear with us. All right. Well, we are going to get started. It is 5:30. Of course, as always, we want to appreciate you guys so much for supporting the Johnson 5 Talk Show. We are back and we are excited to be back. We're excited to be back and to be doing this once again. Guys, we are doing something new. Instead of doing that full hour, we are only going to do 30 minutes. That way we could have more engagement through you guys. We understand sometimes you can't be on, and so we want to just make it 30 minutes from now on, just so that way you guys can stay on. That way you can engage with us even more. Of course, we have Miss Maggie who is watching. Thank you for watching, Mom. Of course, as always, we want to thank you for watching. We are going to get right into it because, again, we only have a few minutes. So we're going to get right into this topic. But as always, we want to hear from our sponsor. As always, of course, we want to thank the CLA Tribe, the CEO, Jose Escobar. We appreciate you always. Always, we appreciate you for sponsoring us and believing in us. And so, again, we just want to say thank you to that. Well, we're going to get right into it because we know the Super Bowl is happening soon. And I already got to watch that Super Bowl. I got a couple bets that's going on with this Super Bowl. So, I got to definitely watch that game. So, we're going to do this as quickly as we can. Like I said in the beginning, we're going to make these lives less than the hour. So, we're going to make them 30 minutes. As you all know, Valentine's Day is coming up. And so, I thought it would be great for you guys to learn more about our relationships, our Valentine's Day special. Most of us are in relationships, and so we're excited to share with you all what our how we came across our relationships, who those other persons are, and a bunch of different other topics. But before we get started on that, Zay, tell us, how many relationships have you been in? We got to know this before we jump into the relationship you're in currently. We got to know how many relationships have you had, and then tell us when you had them.
Well, I actually was only in four relationships of my life. I had one relationship, I believe it was sixth grade. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to switch. I had five relationships. I had a relationship when I was in sixth grade. And then that didn't work out. And it was kind of weird because we kids, and then this other girl that liked me. The day I broke up with my girl, was like, I always liked you. And I just said, I liked you too. And then I had that relationship. I had a relationship in eighth grade. Um, and then I had a relationship in ninth, and then 10th through 11th, and then I'm in my relationship right now. So even though, it's a lot of relationships, going through all those relationships, you learn the pros, the cons, what to do in a relationship, what not to do, what to look for, what not to look for. So yeah.
All right, big bro, how many relationships have you been in?
Uh, uh, I don't even know. Maybe five-ish, or five relationships, I'd say. Maybe around there, around there.
Okay, when were those relationships?
Started in high school and up until through college, and maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm now single. I'm not looking for anybody. Okay, let's make that clear. Uh, but yeah, I've been single for a while now.
Okay, that's good. So I would say I had um probably five relationships as well, including the one that I'm in now. I've had relationship when I was in middle school, had a few relationships in middle school. I had I want to say one or two relationships in high school, and then I have the one that I am current with. This is going to be my last relationship. I know that's right, babe. This is going to be my last relationship. Thank you. Thank you. So Jayla would be the only one to get that, but this is going to be my last relationship. But yeah, so I've had five relationships. And so we're talking about relationships. So Zay, tell me about your relationship currently. Tell me if you have any plans for Valentine's Day. Hopefully she doesn't find out. I don't think she follows us. So if you don't want to say it, you don't have to say it because this is going to be public. But tell us about how you guys met. Tell us kind of that story behind how you guys met, how long you guys been together, and then if you have plans for Valentine's Day. I can't hear you. While we wait on that, I'm going to read some of these comments. Um, Mom says, "Good afternoon, sons." Of course, Mom, we always thank you, appreciate you for supporting us. Jayla, my girlfriend, is on. Our cousin is on. Our cousin says, "Samuel, I seen your girlfriend at church today." It's funny, my girlfriend told me that now all of a sudden everybody knows her, which I think is really funny because, Big Bro, I don't want to say we're famous, but people know us in the church. People know us in the church. And so when Jayla first started coming to church, nobody knew who she was, right? She would be with me, nobody knew who she was. Now that she goes, when we go to church together, and now I'm in North Carolina, when she goes to church by herself, now everybody is coming up to her, hey, oh, hey, I know you, how you doing? And this and that and the third. So I thought that was really funny for her to tell me about that. All right, Zay, you ready? It is on you real quick. I do want to mention Hezekiah Lamprey. We appreciate you for coming on as well and hearing us this Johnson 5 talk show. Again, we're talking about relationships. Valentine's Day is coming up. So we've been in relationships and some of us have relationships currently. And so learn more about our relationship because this whole point of this podcast is for you to understand our perspective and hear and kind of know us, get to know us more. And so I'm in a relationship, Zay is in a relationship, Anthony is single and not looking for a relationship. So don't holler at him because he made that specific. Don't holler at him. But in any case, we're going to hear from Zay and hear about his relationship that he is in currently.
Yeah, so my current relationship I am in, I'm not going to say the whole backstory, but basically we known each other for 5 years, basically 4 plus years. Um, and in 11th grade, we used to talk, but it didn't really work out. But love has a way of finding itself at the right times. So when it was the right time, when we both was ready, and I would say one good thing that I know about our relationship of knowing each other for a long time would be the friend side of you and you know the relationship side of you. So knowing her for 5+ years, you know, she came to me when she was having problems with her past relationships. She came to me, you know, when we just would go out as a friend group. So it's just you get to know that person inside and out as a friend, and then you know you get that relationship side of them also.
What's
What's
one
one
thing that
thing that
you
you
have
have?
learned from your relationship currently? Is there something that you know more about yourself that you didn't know in your previous relationships? Is there something that she's helped you identify? What is something that you know you learned from your relationship that you're in currently?
Something that I learned from my current relationship. I would say really just it's like it's always like as the Bible says also, it's a time and a place for everything. So really just like you can't force love, right? You can't force a relationship. You can't force that. Because like I said, I'm not gonna go through the whole backstory, but I feel as though in 11th when we liked each other, you know, I, on my part, wasn't ready and I was trying to force it. And that's how things didn't work out. But as we just was friends and, you know, let everything play out, then, you know, it was for us and now we're in a relationship. So what I learned is I would just say, like, let things play out. Don't try to, you know, force anything. Don't try to jump anything. And as bad as it sounds, if you're not in a relationship, do you. The whole point of a relationship is to know, okay, this is the person I want to settle down with. So as bad as it sounds, I have to say, if you're not in a relationship, don't weigh your options, but know like who do you want to settle down with? You know, don't just settle down for one person and that might not be the person for you.
That's great advice. I guess I'm going to share my story. My story is a little bit crazy. So my previous relationship, my ex, and I don't like to bring her up, and babe, don't shoot me down. Hopefully I won't get in trouble, audience. Y'all be on my side because you know. In any case, moving on. So my previous relationship, it was rough. And I'm not going to expose nothing, but you know, it was, it was just I went through a rough phase, and so after that relationship, I kind of told myself, and I'm like, you know what, God, if you want a relationship for me, I'm not going to rush into something. I'm not going to get into something. God, if you want me in a relationship, you're just going to have to put that person in front of me. And so I literally made a vow after my ex. I made a vow. I said, I'm not going to be in another relationship until God puts that person for me, who's for me, into my life. And so I go to church this Sunday, and to kind of tell her side of the story as well. My girlfriend currently, she was friends with Siani, which is Solomon's girlfriend as well. And so they were not going to go to Mount Airy, right? They was going to a different church. They went to this different church. They didn't like it, and so they came to Mount Airy. So we're in Mount Airy, and Bishop calls everybody and says, everybody come to the altar, come down, come pray. And so we all coming down to the altar, and I get to the altar, and she's down in the altar. And, you know, I'm not even focused on her, but I'm praying to God and, you know, doing that and doing whatever I have to do. And then I lock eyes with her. And we lock eyes for, I want to say about a couple seconds. You know how that is, Zay. We lock eyes. Uh-oh. That's the target right there. That's the target. So we lock eyes on each other. You say what?
Say, I feel you, brother.
We lock eyes on each other at the altar for a few seconds. So then we go back to a seat, and I'm like, man, I want to get this girl's number, but I'm not going to force it, right? I wanted to get her number, so I said, okay, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to be mad. After service, I'm going to go up to her. If she's not there, forget it. Service ends, she's not there, so I go home and I'm like, well, God, if it's meant for me, you're going to put it in my life. If it's not meant for me, it's not. I'm just done with relationships. I've experienced it. I'm just done for right now. So Solomon and Siani, my twin Solomon, is going on a date. And so again, remind you, my girlfriend Curly, her name is Jayla. Jayla and Siani were friends. Don't get lost in the sauce. Follow me, y'all. Follow me. And so Solomon comes to me. I'm sleeping, and Solomon's like, "Bro, there's a girl that was at the church that's friends with Siani. She wants to go on a date with you." And I'm like, first off, I know you didn't just wake me up from my sleep. All right, that's number one because y'all, if y'all know me, I love taking naps. I love taking naps. It's just something about naps. In any case, so he wakes me up from my sleep. He's like, "This girl wants to go on a date with you," and I'm like, "I don't feel like going. I'm tired." He's like, "Bro, you gotta go." Make a long story short, we go on this date, and it was the same girl in the altar, and now we've been dating for a year and a half, going on 2 years. And, it was definitely meant to be. I would say that. It's definitely meant to be because, like I said, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't searching for a relationship. The relationship came to me. And it was definitely meant for us to be together and ordained by God. And so that's kind of my background story about my girlfriend and how we kind of came about. I want to say after about a month or two, that's when I asked her to be my girlfriend. So I didn't do it right away. But a month or two, I asked her to be my girlfriend, and that's when we made it official. And so that is kind of my background story about how my relationship came to be. Big Bro, we got some questions for you because we go to you all the time for relationship advice. I go to you all the time. I think Sal goes up to you, and then Zay. Zay, I'm not sure about him, but I'm pretty sure he goes to you all the time for advice. And so we had a relationship session yesterday. And so I want to ask you, Big Bro, what advice would you give to your brothers? You see us in relationships. I'm sure you have opinions on all girls. I'm sure you keep them in your mind. And so, knowing all the opinions you have of all girls, knowing all girls, right? Jayla, what's your girl's name, Zay?
Danye.
Nanye? I'm gonna
Yeah.
just say nine.
No, Danye. D.
Oh, Danye. Okay. Jayla, Danye, Siani, looking at us, what advice would you give to us?
Um, I would say, speaking off experience, you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. Because if you do not know who you are, then when you're in a relationship, you're going to begin to settle. You're going to begin to compromise. You're going to begin to um, lower your standards um, for love. Because obviously, all of us want to be loved, but we have to make sure that we know ourselves before we make that commitment to even get in a relationship first and foremost. And especially when you go into a marriage, you have to know who you are. So that would be my best advice because, as coming from someone who wants to be loved and speaking from experience, um, I allowed things to happen to me that was not necessarily right. But I compromised because I didn't know who I was and I just wanted to be loved. So the first thing is, do you know yourself and do you love yourself? Because if you love yourself, you will not allow certain things to happen. You will not allow people to do certain things to you. Um, and so that way, when you are healthy, you can build a healthy relationship.
And I think that's so important. And I think one of the things that people don't do is they don't heal from their experiences. A lot of times you come from a relationship and then that's your ex, and then you're going right into another relationship where you talk to another person and you're bringing that same pain that you experienced in the previous relationship, you're bringing it to this relationship. And a lot of times, see, God gives us free will. And sometimes we have to understand that some of our relationships are meant for us. We're just mishandling it because we never healed from the previous. And so I think it's so important for some of us who, have had some pain and some hurt. We got to heal first. Like you said, big bro, it's important for you to heal. You have to be happy with yourself first, heal first before you move on to something else. That's
And
the,
real quick,
yeah, go ahead.
no, were you done?
Yeah, I was done. Yeah.
Real quick, I do want to say the importance of healing, because when you become fully healed from that relationship, um, then you will begin to realize when people come into your life, it may not always be a romantic relationship.
Mm,
Sometimes we think that, oh, nice girl or nice guy comes into our lives, that we are supposed to be in a romantic relationship.
mm,
And and because we are not healed, we assume that that is what, oh, God wants us to do, or we want to do. But when you are healed, you'll be able to see clearly, okay, this person, um, I can be in a romantic relationship, or we just need to be platonic.
mm,
We just need to be friends. And
mm,
oftentimes, when we are not healed, we step into another relationship that was not designed for us.
mm.
We were just in need of, uh, we were in need to uh, be in someone else's presence in that way, in a romantic way. And then we get damaged even more. I hope I made sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's important to understand because you have to heal. That's the most important thing. You have to heal before you jump into another relationship, before you do anything, right? You have to heal. Zay, now we have a few more minutes left. Now, the normal thing in a relationship is to have sex for young people, right? That's the norm. Before you even take her out to dinner, or maybe you take her out to dinner this one night, and then it's like, I'm ready to hit that. I gotta hit that. I gotta hit that, right? That's the norm. What do you say to that? What do you say to those young people who like this is the norm? How do young people who are like us who respect women and they're like, well, it's a lot of people who are pressuring me to do this. I see my friends who are smashing these girls. Like, how am I supposed to live in this world? How am I not supposed to, how am I supposed to respect a woman where all I see is people disrespecting them? What do you say to that?
Um, so I'm gonna say it from a perspective of what I do. Before I actually get in a relationship, I have, and well, everybody has it, but it's the talking stage, right? Where you get to know the person, find out likes and dislikes. But me, I don't know if y'all do this too, but I'm just speaking for me. Me, I'm kind of different, right? My talking stage can last for 3, 4 months, right? And the reason I do that is because for those 3, 4 months, first, number one, you get to know the person, know if this is the person for you. Secondly, that's your person, right? When I'm in the talking stage for 3 or 4 months, it's like I'm not talking to nobody else. I'm focused on that one person. So in my mindset, yes, that's not my girlfriend yet, but this is the person I want to potentially make my girlfriend. So in those 3, 4 months, you get to know, okay, this is how our relationship will work. Because a lot of people, when you get in a relationship, switch up. But I'm kind of going off topic with that one. But next is for those 3, 4 months, you get to see what's the intentions that that person wants in a relationship. Um, you can see, okay, say we go out to dinner. You can see if she's pushing, oh yeah, can we have sex? Can we do this? Can we do that? Or you can see if, oh, I had a great night. When's the next time we can go out? And that's when you value um the pros and the cons of what, this is what you do in a relationship, this is what you don't do, and if this is the person I want. And yeah, I feel like something we can do. But on the flip, like you said, this generation is crazy. And yeah, they don't even do that. They don't take girls out to dinner no more. And that's why, which is, I wouldn't say a bonus for us, but for the guys like us who are gentlemen, it is good because a lot of these girls out here, they don't get treated right. And then when they find somebody like us, people get mad, oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm treating her right. So she came to me, she left you and she came to me. It's not nothing toxic. It's just like learn how to treat a girl and learn how to don't treat her. So yeah.
I know
That
that's
was
no, that's good, and it's funny because most of my friends are like, "Oh, you didn't have sex yet? You still a virgin?" And most of them are like, "Oh, you still with that same girl?" Meanwhile, when they get 10 years down the road, they can't find a girl or stick with a girl because all they knew is how to be a player, right? I have to. They're playing this player game where they're like, okay, smash pass. Oh, I'm gonna date you. Oh, I'm gonna have another girl on the side. And I have this girl with me who I've been loyal for, and now I'm about to marry her. And now my friends wonder why they can't find someone, all because you decided, hey, this is a game for me. And I'm just going to treat them how I just want to treat them without, respecting them or doing, what it is that you're supposed to do right. And so that's always something that's really, really something that stands out to me is that most of my friends always say stuff, and yet I'm still in this loyal relationship. And then when I get married, then you guys wonder why you can't find a wife because you decided to play these games. We have a good question here, and we're going to finish off with this question. And I think this is a great question, and we're going to try to keep your answers as quick as possible. I have a good answer for this, but I'm going to keep it quick. This answer, a cousin asks, she says, I have a question. Do y'all see yourself marrying your woman? And we all wait till after 5 years or 10 years. I ask she asked her daughter, they talk about when they graduate college. So me as a mother, can I stop it or tell them to wait another 5 to 10 years? So a question is, do we see ourselves marrying the girls that we're with? And can we wait 5 or 10 years? Can she stop her daughter from marrying that guy? Real quick, I'm gonna answer that. Um, Me and Jayla talk about this all the time, and we talk about how the older generation is like, live your life, do this, that, and the third. You got to experience life, which is true, which is very true. But what me and Jayla always talk about is that sometimes the older generation don't understand us, right? Because they assume a lot of things for us. They just don't understand us. Why? Because they don't give a voice to us. They're just assuming things. And so, kind of to answer that question is, and me and Jayla talk about it all the time. If God's called us to marriage, I don't care who you are, we're going to get married because the only person we care about is God. Now, that's no offense to my parents. I love my parents. I love my dad and mom. But what I see for the future is if God tells me I'm supposed to marry this girl and God says you are ready, if God told me next year you're ready to get married and I have things in order, I'm getting married, right? And obviously, it's more to that, and I can't get into it. But go ahead. We gonna turn it to Big Bro, and then Zay, you can finish it off. But like, try to make it as quick as possible. But I want to get into this question. We're gonna get into this question later down the road because this question definitely hits, and we talk about this all the time. Go ahead, Big Bro.
Okay. Well, obviously, I don't have someone. As I said, I'm single. But I do want to get married, and I do want kids. I do want my own family in the future. Um, but when it does come to marriage, I think that on point that Samuel hit, the older generation doesn't always understand us, which is correct. Um, but on the flip side of that, the older generation does have wisdom that we do not have. So I think when you talk about marriage, first and foremost, you have to find, or you have to ask God who to send you to counsel you in marriage. I think that that is important to get counsel before you get married, because marriage is not an easy thing. We see divorces at an all-time rate now, and no one is really sticking together. And so, one thing with a marriage, you have to keep God first, because if God is first and He's kept first, then the marriage won't fail, because anything that is in God does not fail. So when you go throughout the marriage, you always have to keep God first. And I think that is, and not to go off topic, but why the divorce rate is so high is that we have not kept God first in every aspect of a marriage. But anyway, to get back to the point really quickly, uh, I don't think that you can force, well, you can't force anyone to not get married. But what you can do is you can ask God for wisdom, to counsel them, to help them, to give them nuggets, to help them. And if you feel as though that she's not ready to get married, then sit down and have a conversation with her. Allow her, as Samuel said, to open her heart, and you have to be able to listen, because the older generation doesn't realize that you may have the wisdom, but you have to allow us to be open to it. Because if you say what you say, or give us wisdom, and we are not open, we're not going to receive it. So you're just saying stuff just to say stuff, and it's not effective. So you have to use wisdom, allow God to give you wisdom to be effective. And I think that is that's what we lack now. And I know I'm kind of taking long, but that's what we lack. We lack effectiveness. Just because you have wisdom and just because you live longer does not mean that you are effective in what you do. So you have to be effective in telling, your daughter, okay, hey, I don't think, just ask God for wisdom. That is what you have to do. And yeah, I'll stop there.
No, I think that's so true. You hit it right on the money, big bro, because I think that's important is we have to, as young people, sometimes we don't feel like opening up because we don't feel comfortable enough to open up. And so I think, because you're right, the older generation has a lot of wisdom. But in order to put that wisdom in effect, it has to be effective, as you said. And so it's so important for, the older generation to hear us first. That hear us. I think that's important. Hear us first. Hear what we're going through. Hear why we want to get married. And then when we hear that, then the older generation can be like, you know what? Let me tell you about my experiences. Here's some wisdom that you should get. Blah, blah, this, that, and the third. Instead, we have a lot of people who say, no, you're not supposed to do that. No, you're not supposed to wear that. This, that, and the third, telling us what to do instead of hearing the young people and then speaking on it. Zay, you're going to finish it up. Tell us a little bit about what we've been talking about. If you need to hear the question again, let me know.
Yeah, I have what I'm going to say, but can I hear the question one more time?
Yeah, real quick, I do have to shout out Second Mom, Evangelist McCrae. We love you. We want to appreciate you. Thank you, as always, for supporting us, our Second Mom. The question is, do you see yourself marrying your woman? And then, so she has a daughter, and her daughter is talking about marrying the boyfriend that she's with after college. Can she stop that? Is it possible that she can stop that and tell them to wait 5 to 10 or 10 years before you get married?
Yeah. So I will say I'm a real I like when I speak, a lot of people say I'm harsh with when I speak, but I don't know, I'm really blunt about things. And I will say that a lot of people in relationships, not coming for anybody, but a lot of people in relationships, it's typical to say, oh yeah, this is my wife, or yeah, this is my husband, and yeah, we're gonna get married. But it really comes down to if you really do, right? And it's if it's really for them, then no, I would say there is no stopping it. And if it's not for them, then you will see it. Either they will eventually something will happen and they won't get married, or when they do get married, they will find out, okay, this is not for me. And it's easy to tell somebody, oh, don't do this or don't do that. I can tell Sam, hey, don't eat an orange because oranges are nasty. But whole time he doesn't know. He never had an orange, and he may like it. I just may not, right? So it's just like yes, you can give somebody advice, but at the end of the day, they will have to experience it themselves. And that's how the older generation has those experiences, and that's how they're able to tell you things because they experienced it themselves. So, like y'all was saying, yes, they can guide you, but I wouldn't say being in the older generation for them to tell you what to do, but to guide you, tell you stories like, oh yeah, when I was getting married, I did this and it didn't go well for me, or I did this and it did go well for me. Instead of saying, oh yeah, don't do this when you're in marriage because this will happen. Because like I said, not everybody's the same. So yeah.
I think that's so true. And you said the key word, guide us. And I think that's so important. Guide us and not tell us what to do. Guys, we are so thankful for you to join us. We'll be back on this topic. I'm going to write this topic down because we have so much still to discuss. We're going to be bringing our grandmom on as well to give us that wisdom and that older generation perspective on this question. And then we're also going to bring a few others that are a little bit in the older generation to see what they think about this question. This question was an awesome question. And so I'm excited to get into it next time. Real quick, Jayla just posted something. I got to read it. She said, I actually think that it's very nice. Our generation wants to get married even though we're young because as the years go on, marriage has been diminished and not as valued. And I think it's nice that as young people still see the value of it today, which is a pretty good point. And so we're going to come back to this topic because it's so much to talk about and so much to dive into, and we just can't dive into it tonight. But we'll be diving into it next time. Real quick, Zay, who you got for the Super Bowl, Chiefs or 49ers? Big bro, who you got for the Super Bowl? I know you don't watch football, but Chiefs or 49ers? Zay, go.
I'm gonna throw out the 49ers. I think they
Okay.
got it.
Okay. Big bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say 49ers too.
All right. Well, I got the Chiefs, reigning champions. I think they're going to get another Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, if they can't stop him, then the Chiefs are going to win. Unfortunately, the Eagles are not in, but maybe next year for us. Guys, thank you so much for supporting us. We cannot wait to get on this topic again next time. Continue to follow us on Instagram at Johnson5_talk.show. Continue to follow us on Facebook at Johnson5Talk Show. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Johnson 5 Talk Show. We love you guys. We can't wait to see you next.